father is Tibetan, and my mother, she's got kind of a mixed background, but she grew up in France. Her mother is from America, so my education and I grew up primarily in the U.S. But as a child, our family, we often traveled quite a bit, so I had exposure to other cultures and especially places like Mongolia. And so then from that kind of put inside me the want to travel and the want to go out and do something later on in life. Our first way was because my mother, she grew up in France, then she had friends and connections in Paris. So she would do a lot of working with agents over there, going to meet fashion houses, and I would be primarily here. And then what we would do is first we realized that we have this incredible product, but the price was quite high because the raw material and the labor costs were high. The price was high, so we had no brand recognition, and I mean at the time there was no internet even, so it was impossible to kind of spread the word out and show who we were. So the only thing that we could do was try to get bigger brands to notice our product and really love the product. So we had a lot of clients, and we would every year we would present 2 collections to them, and then their designers would come and they'd make some modifications, and then they would order the samples. It was not so stable because their designers change. Sometimes the designers love the product, but then the accounting comes from behind and says it's too high, and then the euro started to fall, and then so it wasn't very healthy to have a business where all your income was in euro, but your expense was in RMB, and RMB was going up. And as early on as 2012 that we needed a strategy going forward that was more direct sales through our brand. So at least eventually your own company is in your hands. It's not so much that if a company is not successful, then we don't get the order. So it's too dependent on the success of another company. Right now, we're more like in the teenage phases of our identity, so we're always questioning ourselves: who are we, what are we, our identity, how would we best present it to the world, and we have so many things to say, how do we say it most effectively, efficiently, so we're still in those stages.
다와 지당하이노다 도망 디노라만 고티니 디그라타 정도는 뭐 정도라 딩 말로 지롱 쿠르정 그런 거 주지 좀 거는 좀 시유슈도는 거 프라이저데 더바이나 마진이라 그때 진행하는 뭐 대진이는 더다 달리라 놀라는 랭구즈들이 놀란도 니 떠던 것이 당하이 제가 접지 그 정도는 고즈들이야 더다 디니마 좀다 내가 너무 단주주의도 그 당하이 나라 지디 디니마테다 수요선 지 사마라 되니 한고 이문에 그 영한 주고 다 딩고즈니마다 맞지 사마라 되니 요소도 다양 되니 이네오는 더다 이 단을 하는 것도 그런 거 좋다고 생각합니다. 달리기나 이집자라 지금 그 서다 이집자 합친도 나도 좋다. 살카티소 중저스 다다 연락나라다 서다르 가자문 가정 대결되는 양 근저라도 좀 위라 야르다 후 다다 디소 담바직스 다다르가 되는서 다 살카티소 거라즈스 그다고 다 사마사크 근데 단인스고 주인이라 그러다 디소 던지 그다다 요거든요. 아래 다동만 놀라들는데 들어와야 되는데 지금까지 또 못 리지나 지금 다 양성 좀 예치는 제일 말이다. 제일 말이잖아요. 이 사마라 지금 사장도 그냥 찍었고 노프고 리스카즈 되지요. 다 사자가 되어놓은 거 이제 딱딱시 되는 지금 리스카즈 사그니 지금 다 정하고 속자로 좀 지금 마선이 노즐 딱딱 리스카즈인지나 가지는 음식이가 됐다. 지금 사마라다 연체모지요니네. 대신하는 주모지 돈이 더 정말 예치는 좀 제제는 말이잖아요. 이 사마라 다 사장되어는 때문에 그 조자즈 그 사장의 것이 더 과목 측정을 하다 놓은 리스카즈 인지나는 게 대가느라 좋아하는 것이었다. 다친막 당만군 주디 담을 그런 거 저기 몰란다. 더 살아가는 거는 옛날에 그저 그시 니진도 다디 체나 정도면 시고 그다 그것도 지는 영나 그다 띠랑 통다 그 로리 다친나 그 야신한 루는 사자가 녀마한테 탐노 디사자 그래다 마와진 탐노 더다 그지 여러 지다 그나 로 기타 다와도 로스 타모 니랑 통다 지고 로리진 여러 짐토나 로는 또 양성 그 지고 도와라 지와
If you think of in terms of globally, how much garbage must be just accumulating through clothes and waste and all that. So our products are of good quality, so that means that they would last a long time, and they're very classic, the design, and they're very timeless. But even if through one person we would love them to become a regular client and come back, but it doesn't mean that they would throw away the thing that they bought, not like my children's clothes where it has a tear and you have to throw it away. But with our scarves, it just becomes more of a collection of scarves. It doesn't accumulate to garbage, and even if you get tired of it, it's still such a valuable thing that you would give it as a gift to your daughter or to your friend, or you say, okay, I wore this so many times, now you can wear it. It's still in perfect, good condition, so it's that. And then but at the same time, we also want to present ourselves as fashionable too, because if we're not fashionable, then people, it's hard to attract people, because that's the way the world is set up today. So we make it, try to make it younger and exciting, but also, not too young, but still make it fresh.
For the industry, where it's slow fashion, it's conscious fashion, it's conscious products, but also for the people and the artisans in the community who are making it. That's a really thing for me. So that's one piece. The second piece is I really like math and technology, and that's my background, and so to find a company that has this, and I also get to do that. I also get to work with computers and analytics and really dive into the numbers and see how things are working, and then also teach others what I know about that. That's a really cool thing for me.
那会不会有危险？就是在放羊的时候，会不会来一些狼或者是其他东西、其他动物，会不会有危险？
反正不会有些，要是狼来的话，就是建了羊馆以后，它也不咋地。
Like any business, we have challenges. Like everybody has challenges. There's not any business that says we don't have any problems, because that means they just stopped growing. And for us, the good thing is that our challenges are always new challenges. So we face our problems, we get past them. Then we get to a new level where we face a whole new set of issues and problems and challenges. Again, we have to go through that. But I think it's important to learn from the problems that you face and make sure that they don't reoccur. So that's where it's important. I mean, human resources is a huge problem, because largely everybody who comes here, you have to train them. And a lot of them have little to no schooling, very limited schooling. So that becomes a problem. In the beginning, when we were private label, it was better because you could train them. They had very good coordination, so you could train them in weaving or spinning. But now we've come to a new level where we need more administrative work, especially when you start entering sales. You're like talking to very high-end clients who can afford to buy like a 2,500 yuan scarf. You have to know how to speak proper Chinese with them, or proper English with them, and communicate with them. So those kind of things become our new level of challenges. How do you train people to get to these levels? Yaku, I mean, first of all, yak down. It's like you have the yak down, then you have yaku and yak hair. So there's quite different levels. The yak down is what we use primarily. It's very soft. So any animal, the down is always very precious fiber. And I think that just speaking practically about it, it's that it's much softer than sheep and even merino wool. It's got twice as much it's twice as warm as something made from sheep wool. It doesn't have the itchiness that sheep wool has. People who are allergic to sheep wool aren't allergic to yak wool. So far, the yak wool we have, it's taking it directly from the land. And these animals are animals who are food raised, and they just go out there. They eat incredibly rich herbs and medicine herbs, and the nomads have to take them in summer from very high pastures, and they feed on this ground that's very rich and nutritious, and the grass that grows from it, the different plants, and so that has an effect on the wool and the milk. So with the wool, it's when you take that wool, and it's nothing like a sheep that's been genetically engineered to produce a lot of sheep wool. It's not like that. There's a certain, since it's just taken from that real wool and made into a product, there's a certain kind of energy around it, the richness and naturalness to it. The simpler, the better. That was the way to start. So we have like our very classic collection, which is all natural. So for example, we have a piece like this, which is the natural grey rum. We needed to think of products that people would feel comfortable wearing. So how do we communicate and take a part of the plateau and present it to them without making it so traditional that somebody feels like they're wearing someone else's culture or they're trying to be someone they're not. So the way we did that is going back and thinking about what
honestly,
is the
they're all
essence
just
of being Tibetan.
so beautiful, and I've never touched a product. I've never just gone somewhere and just touched clothes. I've never done that before in my life, and I've never really appreciated clothing. It's I just for me, I don't care what I'm wearing, but to see this now, I want to touch it and feel it.
And then with other things, even when we went into color and patterns, it's always about that same core principle. And something like this, it's one example of the different types of colors we did. But one of the things that is very unique about the plateau is just the intensity of color, and just the altitude makes it the sky is so close to you. And sometimes when you travel, and it's just even in winter, especially in winter when the air is so thin, there's just like this very deep blue, and the sky sometimes just feels like a ceiling. It's so pleasant. And so this is, we called it our winter sky color, and it's trying to get that very the blue of the plateau sky, and then sharing that with the world, where you still have the yak, you feel like the quality and of the animal and the closeness to nature, but you also have an aspect of just that color and that richness.
다 시고 그노 라그는 글리칼 디 돈지용도는 양스즈간을 좀 선언주다 흐져나고 노르능다 도마즈 그선요가 노르능제는 노르능요구선 노르능제는 쿠요 그리 쿠디다션 곱초이 마트다 다소흐셔나 부처저노 단 지금 자그즈게라지고 그 탐나라 양성그 지금 자첸 가첸 도모시 그 도모이 마트에 단 드즈용으로 사찬즈는 손은 노르능 손드즈간 따오 근도 먹는 쿠그다 저지 혹시 자첸 가첸 혹은 자노요 저니 도모즈레트나 다른 거 그 센턴즈 거 그런 거 혹시 럼부치 다른 거 곱초이 탑선은 마체비 뜻고나 뜻대나 저지는 잠누 조노 따고 혹시 홍 지금 프로텐나 샤노 양성도 뭐 돈지자 돈도나다 시기지고 또만다 젠바다 옵션 요무스니도 뭐 그지고 다가 동화란 소리가 뭐 이런다.
The patterns, of course, we have different patterns on scarves, and a lot of it with the scarves is about textures, different textures. But recently we had a new section that opened up, and it's taking the traditional Tibetan know-how on carpet weaving, and Tibetans have a very unique way of weaving carpets, the hand knotting that they've been doing for centuries, and it's done in central Tibet, and there's a very special sheep wool that comes from like the Changdang area, and so we went to source that sheep wool. We took some aspects of some parts of yak wool, also the lower grade ones, and then we combined these two together and came up with like a gradient of colors that are all natural, and they all kind of, depending on the different mixes of yak and sheep, you get a nice mix from white to brown. And then with still keeping the essence of keeping everything natural in the carpets, we went into pattern and texture. And then again, it's taking parts of where we live and the plateau and incorporating them into the design. This color is from it's 70% sheep, Highland sheep wool, and 30% yak wool. And here the carpet, you're supposed to look at it from top down, and it's called yak on the move. So these are all herds like moving along in rows. And then so it's that, because when you look at a carpet a lot of the time, of course you're looking at it from top down. So it's just allows you to think and interpret it and feel part of this of the plateau in the design. This is more like if you travel around the plateau, and we have lots of different series, but you have these areas that are kind of, there's rivers, but around the rivers you have different shades of just green, and then it gets into darker green, and then it gets into a dense muddy thing, so you get that feel of just the flow of the ground and the different colors. And so again, it's sharing a part of just nature and the plateau and incorporating it into the design. The toys came up because when we started to work a lot with bigger pieces of felt, you're left with all these scraps of felt, like leftover pieces of fabric, and then we didn't know what to do with it. You couldn't, like, it was a shame to throw it out, and then so we started to develop smaller products out of leftover pieces and try to get a better added value. So this one actually my sister designed. It's a yak. And so he's made out of felt entirely, and he's quite popular. We called him Tsering yak. Tsering means long life. It's a Tibetan name. So we thought it's very auspicious. And then we thought in Tibetan folk stories, and actually not like if you travel into central Tibet, a lot of people talk about the yeti. We decided to make like a cute yeti, like a happy yeti. So this is the yeti, and then we have a whole family of yeti. In a lot of folk tales and a lot of stories about, especially with kids, but in central Tibet, even with grown-ups, there's this figure that they call a yeti, and in Tibetan it's called migur. And he's kind of like a very big monkey man, and you find his footsteps, and like the people are quite terrified of him, but they say that he's got a nice heart, so if you don't bother him, he won't bother you. But sometimes he'll come down and steal some food or something, and then he disappears back into usually into very jagged hills.
那他们俩是几岁的时候去的那个拉布拉斯？
他是15岁的时候。
15岁。
现在18岁。
在那学了3年。
他是14岁的时候，现在17岁。
17岁。那当时为什么想让把他们送到拉布拉斯学习？
是他们在，我的希望，我一直在去那个当和尚。
他自己就想当和尚，还是你们想当和尚？
他也希望这样，我的希望也在当和尚。
你也希望他当和尚？他说我不想在成都当和尚。
对。
你是不想让他当和尚，你想让他去城市里面生活，但是他自己还想当和尚。
对。
为啥？是因为他平时他从小的时候就受到这样的，就是你们给他讲这些东西，然后一起去寺庙，那他就是想当和尚吗？还是？
不知道，我们藏民人大部分在一直，就是那个一直去寺庙里，一直去的。但是我在 这样的暂时在他，怎么说呢？他不习惯在上学，什么都不喜欢了，他就一直
觉得当和尚好。
对，
那当时你哥哥，这几个哥哥当和尚，然后你和你的哥哥为什么没去？你的弟弟去当和尚，你和你哥哥当时都没去。
我们是这样的，我们在一个家庭的时候，在和尚有的挺好的，但是家里在做一个需要一个人。
就不能全家都当和尚。
对，
这样的话家里就没有东西，没有钱。
这就是那个家在直接没有了，
家都没有了，所有人都是和尚。
对。
然后所以这个时候你就想，然后我来当牧民。
对，
然后去，
我哥哥在去上学，我当牛羊，我的2个弟弟在送到旗下和。
A purpose within the company, if that makes sense, because as much as we'd like to do community work, we don't want to step outside. Everything we do is for the company and the community, but again, as one, as the more it's one. I mean, the first is because I don't know the language. There's a lot of getting creative in how to communicate, and so that requires a lot of patience. I think patience just in general, because we're coming from two different worlds. I'm coming from a world of lots of computers and lots of technology and fast, things are very fast, and versus here where it's beautiful in itself, where it's slower. You know, they're spending time with their yaks and their families and all of the chores, and they're dealing with nature and the elements that come with nature, and you know, in the snow and waking up at 4 a.m. and things I've never even had a thought of doing. English classes, I did them for a bit, and then Andrew came and did them. And yeah, there's some people here who really enjoy it and who have really improved. And especially in our Norless business, because it's so global. Yeah, so what I mainly do is I help with the e-commerce. So we have a website that is mainly dedicated for the international audience. So Dorji mainly handles domestic within China, and those websites, those sites, Taobao and Weijian. So for our website, yeah, it's our international market, which is it's interesting because you cover a lot of countries, you know.
Younger, I used to have like these big dreams of like, okay, Norland, every village, and this, and now after 10 years, it's like you start to realize that if you want to do something well, it takes time. You just hope that you do something that's very stable. You don't want to do something that's big, and the minute you step out, everything falls. So now our focus is much more about building a very strong foundation, something that really is pure, something where we can really keep our integrity as a brand, so that it doesn't become something where we say, oh, it's natural, it's made here, it's this, but actually we're producing it in a big factory, and like we want to really keep the brand integrity and build a strong foundation. And to do that, it's not easy, and it doesn't happen so fast. So we're hoping that at least if this project can become very sustainable, very profitable, the people have very good lives out of it, it would become a source of inspiration for other people to also start the same thing.
다 마음 하리나 다 루치 담발로 손디롱 통로 다 옥도지는 영날에 다 하리나라 신나고 논란도 지그시 그단됐나 너 지금 군도서 그 지금 적됐나 그런 거 그지 예체 다 하리 지금 논란은 그 아마는 로레산도지 아무도 있는다 자체 어떻게 되는 건 좋아서 그런 거 그 시이조에나 저거 아이나 저건데 논란될 때는 다 지금 그 동마랑 그 어디 논란은 지금 시 무슨 뭐 그런 거 지금 놀라 그래 지금 그 삼로에나 저 그런 거 이렇게 하는 저 놀라 그래서 한다나 저모스 당나 그런 거 지금 저모스 니와가 저거 지금 그런 거 하는 데 놀란데 니와는 문제 그런 거 상관하는 겁니다. 달로치 담바 온디랑 통다 정들지나 저거 그 사자는 또 같은 뭐 이렇게 하신다 같은 데는 다 지금 들어가는 거 적도들이 그 옛날하고 그 다리 나라 지금 도만들이나 지금 그 대화가 장장스러 다음 거 하래 지금 잠바 그 지금 아정스 지네 그 그냥 지금 그 대화 공지 나라 지금 그래서 지금 디 놀란데 지금 마후이나 놀이나 다 잠바 모아서 지금 놀란디 그래서 저거는도 어떻게 지도 지금 시리하는 짓이다. 그 사자 소소.
For me, I think it's that thing is patience and enjoying the beauty of the process, the beauty of exchange of ideas and ways of living, me teaching things and then them teaching me, and understanding also of how important conscious capitalism is in terms of the products that are sold out there, how they were made and who was involved in making them, and were they treated fairly and treated right. Everything doesn't have to be, it tends to be in this in the West and consumerism where the end user just wants everything cheap and the owner is making all of the profits and they're billionaires. But what about the middle people? What about the artisans and those people? So really, it doesn't have to apply to just textiles or the fashion industry. All industries can move towards more conscious consumerism, even as the consumer, to think more consciously about what we're purchasing and how important it is for a community like this. So I'm very lucky, and I hope I can, be here and help out as long as I can, knowing that, again, hopefully someday it's all ran by